The two men knelt in the bushes, their eyes sweeping the heavy forest ahead. Where was it? Of all the things that dumb goat could have eaten, why did it have to swallow the one medallion which could stop the cult ritual? Seriously, why did the stupid beast even start chewing on a piece of metal? Bah! Nothing ever went as planned. Hey, old man, can I ask you something? The kid asked. He lowered his spear as he looked into his mentor's eyes, water dripping from his shoulders. It had been raining all day. The ground was nothing but a layer of mud. Sure, what's up, kid? The old man grunted. His haggard face continued to focus on the forest ahead. He had lost count of how many adventures he had undergone in his 50-year career. There wasn't much he hadn't fought. Giants and golems were par for the course for him. Well, I was thinking of asking Shari to marry me. Yeah? The old man replied. Hey, old man, it's a big deal. Yeah? Are you even listening, old man? Yeah, you want to ask that tavern girl to be your wife. Sounds like you've made up your mind. Now you've got to convince the girl. Sheesh, you're so blah. The old man laughed at the kid's ramblings. Well, he wasn't a kid anymore. He hadn't been one for a long time. The kid was a muscular young man. His skin was marked by the several deep scars from previous adventures and mistakes he had made. Something brushed against the old man's leg. Only now did he realize his mistake. Slithering through the mud was a massive serpent. It was almost as thick as he was, its head bigger than his chest. It swung about and tripped the old man. He fell into mud with a splash. Kid, he yelled. Help, the boy replied. Looking sideways, the old man saw the boy already wrapped in the coils of the serpent. The old man wanted to help the kid, but the snake had already bound around his chest. The air squeezed from his lungs. It was hard to breathe. He didn't have long. It was time to act. Hello, and welcome back to Mythical Phylogeny. I am your guide, Jason Diogos. Today we are facing a creature which oozes fear of many, the mighty Giant Serpent. Come and stay for a spell, and I'll share you my experiences with this foe. For once, we truly know everything about the creature's biology. It is a snake. Yep, just a snake, except much, much larger. On Earth, the largest snake to date is the Titanoboa. It clocked in at just short of 50 feet and around 2,500 pounds, though they are now extinct, which I am very glad to hear. Snakes spend long periods between eating. They eat a large meal and then slowly digest it. Anacondas have been known to eat such large prey that the animal will rot inside them. Now, the most feared snakes fall into one of two categories. Well, 2.5 to be more accurate. Constrictors and venomous. Rarely does a serpent use both. That is a blessing, and each must be handled differently. As Usain Bolt is the fastest man alive, he is not known for his heavy lifting. The same is true with serpents. Constrictors require great power, while those who use venom require speed to strike. Each requires a different kind of muscle, either fast or slow twitch muscles. We will address the venomous variants first. They will hide and wait until you are at range to jump out and strike. Unless they intend to eat you, they will usually not deliver their venom, a dry bite as it is called. Sadly, the ones we are facing will be interested in making you their dinner. There is an extra trick a few have mastered, and this is the one I hate the most. Spitting. Nothing more fun than having something wet and sticky thrown in your eyes. Worse if it is poisonous and leaves you blind. Just like a limbless archer, far from my favorite foes. As for the constrictors, their hunting style changes dramatically. They prefer to ambush their prey while they are resting, or better if they can drop down from a tree above. That momentary stun can give them the opportunity to ensnare their prey. Trust me, having something hitting you on the head or back will knock you down. Even just 30 to 50 pounds will leave your head spinning. What about an anaconda which can weigh over 500 pounds? That will leave me eating dirt. When they wrap around you, they'll use their incredible strength to squeeze the victim's chest and prevent it from inhaling. The heart is left to circulate deoxygenated blood until the body collapses, assuming the heart is strong enough to continue to beat. You all heard that music soothes the savage beast. You've surely heard of snake charmers. The truth isn't so fanciful with these bards. It's not the music that the serpent is reacting to, but the movement of the flute. If the flute would hold still, the serpent would strike it. They tend to focus on moving objects when striking. It is easier for them to see. Lastly, serpents possess an organ called the Jacobson's organ. It allows them to taste the air, so to speak. This is why they often flick their tongue out as they move. Though not necessary to understand the giant serpent, it is a trait you can watch for. Each of our giant serpents fights differently, and thus each must be faced accordingly. First, we shall face our venomous foes. The first thing to do would be to watch out for ambushes in the ground or the trees. But none of us are that lucky, right? The best option is to wear armor which is resistant to piercing attacks from their fangs, plate or heavy gambeson. Chainmail is practically worthless here. I wouldn't scoff at a shield either. Now, these serpents will want to strike and retreat back and let their venom render you helpless. If you can deflect the first strike, then you can counter. A long-reaching weapon, like a two-handed sword, spear, or bardiche, is your best option. A sweeping strike is the safest of all. Snakes don't have a closed rib cage, which makes them easier to strike internal organs on the exposed underbelly, exploited. But there's still the spitters. Here's where that shield will come in handy. When the snake lunges at you or spits, you can raise it up and block it. Best if you can keep the shield angled downward to attempt to aim the venom away from you and not spray it upwards into your face. As soon as the snake moves, you can sweep in with the shield and pin it to the ground. The best place is right behind the neck, where it can't bite you and it can't fight back. From there, one quick swing of your blade and it's over. Nice and easy. I like that, don't you? Now, if your luck is worse, then you're poisoned. Good luck with that. There are several types of poisons. You got the Flaccid poisons, which will leave you flopping around like a rag doll. Spaxid poisons will cause you to tighten up and be unable to move. My favorites, the coagulating poisons, which will turn your blood into a thick sludge. And the opposite, which won't let your blood clot. And the necrotic poisons will just kill your cells. Oh, so many varieties. So you could try to carry an antidote, but each kind requires a different antidote. Be quick now, venoms work quickly. If you have a cleric in your party, you do, right? Oh, then they can kill the poison. Praise your gods. If neither is an option, get your poison limit as low as possible. Keep it below your heart. And try not to panic. You'll know very quickly if it was a dry bite or not. If it is a dry bite, you're good. Just gotta be ready for infections. If it isn't a dry bite, you're on the clock. It's time to get moving. You've all heard the myth to suck out the venom. Never do this. It doesn't help and gets poison in your mouth. Now you've got 2 poisoned party members. Also, don't apply a tourniquet. This would cause just as much damage. Limit your motions as you escape. That is your priority now. Not all venoms are lethal, even from giant serpents. Get back to town and get emergency medical help. If you have a teleportation spell or scroll, it's time to bust it out. If not, fly. Lastly, you should avoid any pain medication that would also serve as a blood thinner, like aspirin. As for constrictors, start the same way. Don't let it strike first. And someone is going to mess that up, of course. If one does drop down on you from above, first challenge is staying conscious. Roll with the impact and then get some distance. The constrictor serpents are slow to react, and you have time to escape assuming you can keep your feet clear. Once back, you can attack. Be warned, pinning a constrictor behind the neck is not as effective. It could still use its body to grab you. Again, use large sweeping attacks as you can. But what happens if that fails? Well, you get caught. Tangled up in the long, slithering body. When facing a constrictor, I would recommend donning plate armor. It will take some force for your foe to squeeze you to death that way. First step to escaping is to keep your arms free. Don't let them get caught. And if they can move, you can fight. If you can keep your arms free, get a dagger, a sword, or even an arrow. Anything sharp that you can use to inflict pain to the snake. Cut away until you are free. If that is an option, and you want to pull, but you don't want to grab the body and pull it away. Oh, no. Not like that. That would do nothing. Instead, grab the tail and unwind it, like string from a spool. Wait, what's that? You didn't keep your arms free? Can you get up and waddle over to a rock to smack the snake's head into it? Probably not. Your chances here are dire, I am sad to say. What you can do is try to breathe as deep as you can, fill your lungs while you have the chance, and focus on your breathing. Keep breathing. Try to roll if you can. Spin to unwind the snake. It'll be far from easy. A giant serpent will easily outweigh you. Ultimately, the best option is your party. They can help you, and you'll need it here. If melee isn't your forte, all the better. Serpents, both great and small, share a critical weakness to the cold. They will slow and eventually go completely still if you chill them enough. What better to fight than a defenseless foe? While not effective, bows will do nicely to keep your distance. Remember, our giant serpents are best up close. The further away you are to engage, the better. Remember, the giant serpent will lunge for moving objects, be it the tip of your sword or your flailing arm. You can use this to create an opening to attack. Position a walking stick in front of you and lure the serpent to strike and then counter as it recovers. Now for the good stuff. What's better than treasure, right, aspiring adventurers? Well, sadly, our giant serpents are lacking in gold and adornments, but they are very useful. Their meat is quite delicious and has so many recipes. Try roasting it over an open fire or in a pit, or you can use it to make some very tasty sausage. Take it to the local butcher to sell. The skin is used by many leatherworkers to make clothes, bags, shoes, and much more. Find the right tanner and you can set up a nice little arrangement. Lastly is the venom. For more lawful individuals, you could bring the venom sacs to the apothecary. Just be careful not to poison yourself with them. They can be used to brew the very antidotes from the snakes you have just faced. I'd also pick some up for next time. But if you are the more villainous sort, you could preserve the venom to coat your weapons or assassinate a target. Just be ready for others to try that on you. The old man looked around. His spear was a few feet away. Even stretching out his hand, he couldn't reach it. The giant serpent tightened its hold. Grabbing its tail, the old man unraveled the beast to its fearsome hiss. The instant he could, he slithered out of its coils and grabbed his spear. Like a noble hero of old, the old man faced the scaled beast, the tip of his spear swaying side to side slowly. As he stopped it, the snake sprang for it, its gaping mouth wrapped around the spearhead. Putting his weight into it, the old man thrust the spear into the serpent's mouth. The beast let out a single hiss before going limp. Turning the kid, he loosened the heavy coils. The boy was breathing heavily as he stood up. "Thank you." "You okay?" the old man clapped the boy on the shoulders. "Yeah, I'm good." "No making mistakes like that, else you may leave your new bride a widow too young." "Right. Now, where did that blasted goat get to? We got to find that thing before the ritual is complete." Together, the two men pushed through the rain-soaked forest in pursuit of the goat harboring the medallion, mud dripping from their clothes, their eyes now jumping at any movement which could warn of another serpent. Thank you for watching this episode of Mythical Phylogeny. It's been a pleasure to bring you face to face with such a magnificent beast. Next time, we shall be looking skyward at the majestic griffin. Until next time, be careful.